Okay, since I had a rather long unplanned YouTube absence, I figured I would do a little bit of an update and just talk about what's going on and what I plan on doing. So this is the plan. Well, kind of the plan. So through my own emotional exploration work, I got I clearly did not get better at speaking on camera. Anyway, um, largely inspired by the death of my dad, I got a men's coach just to help me, process and deal with stuff and figure out what's going on. It inspired so much introspection that I needed help. And getting the coach led to all sorts of new and wonderful things in my life and just ways of seeing things and growth and experimentation and all sorts of stuff. So that led me kind of indirectly to this emotional exploration work with marijuana and just getting to turn that process up to 11 and having all of this growth and all of these insights and all of this expansion and freedom and just all sorts of stuff, which inspired me to take a coaching with cannabis certification. I didn't know this kind of thing existed, and it's a relatively new thing, and I'm really excited about it. And my course just recently started, and so here we are. What am I doing? I am working on a coaching with cannabis certification. It's about 6 months, and at the end of it, I will start coaching people using cannabis as a tool. Now, this video and a lot of other following videos will be just sharing my journey, just showing, hey, this is what I'm learning, this is what's interesting, and hey, isn't this cool? That kind of thing. So, disclaimer, don't take this as any sort of advice. I'm not a cannabis coach, at least not yet, and this is just kind of, hey, I'm sharing what's going on right now. So, take it as such. Now, what is coaching? A lot of people haven't ever used a coach, don't know what coaching is outside of high school sports, and that's a very valid question. Now, coaching is often compared to therapy, and there are some key differences and some useful overlaps. Therapy is a little more focused on past trauma. How can you identify and integrate things that happened to you in the past? And it's a licensed thing. You go to school for a long time, get your license and all that. Coaching is more about, hey, what's going on right now and where do you want to be in the future? How can we get you there? What's holding you back? What's going on? How can we get in there and fine tune the machinery so that you get going in the direction that you want to go? Now, there are some various functions and styles of coaching. It might be addressing, say, limiting beliefs, identifying how your psychological development led you to this place of thinking that you can't do X, Y, Z, or you'll never be good enough or whatever. And styles of coaching might be there might be a transformational coach or a somatic coach or just a coachy coach, run-of-the-mill coach. Okay, the primary job of, I know this is very brief, but this is just my way of reviewing information that I got in my class. So forgive me, I'll get better at this process. Creating structure and safety is the big part of coaching. You give the client the framework, the space, the permission, and then they end up doing the work themselves, but you're the one that creates the context that allows it to take place, that allows transformation to happen. Learning how to listen, that's a big one. And having good questions and giving gentle guidance. They should come away from the experience thinking that they actually did the work, not the coach. And there'll be various levels of involvement from the coach. A coach might just hang out and listen, yeah, I'm just going to be here and give you the space to do the feeling, do the insights, and do all the work. And that has value. But then on the other end of the spectrum, there'd be like, okay, I'm going to facilitate an experience for you. I'm going to create this container. I'm going to guide you through this process, and it's going to be very hands-on, and it can be everything in between. And a good coach is someone that is able to navigate all of the different levels of involvement based on what they think will help the client the most in that moment. Okay, so what does cannabis have to do with coaching? How does it fit in there? Cannabis will, oh man, in my personal experience, what it did was it opened me up, and it helped move me beyond this kind of cloudy layer of, cultural, psychological, just add-ons that I think were messing with me. It helped dip me down below this level of crud that was preventing me from feeling my feelings, knowing who I am and what I want and things like that. So it helped blast off the crust and get me down to a deeper level where I actually felt like I knew something and could feel my feelings. It really helps with limiting beliefs, because you can have a limiting belief, and when you bring it out into the conscious realm, write it down. I will never be good at X, whatever. Then you consume cannabis in whatever form you want, and then revisit that, and all of a sudden you see through it and you go, oh, that's not me. That's an idea that was maybe put on me or that I got a long time ago, but it's not me. And all of a sudden the limiting belief, it loses its teeth, and it no longer has a hold of you, and you can start to rewrite some of these codes in your system. It'll really just send empathy through the roof, gives you access to emotions and compassion, so you can start to see your situation in a clear light that allows you to love who you are as you are, understand how you got there, and allow you to, hey, move beyond because you're ready to do something different. Really increases creativity, how you solve problems in your life, or maybe you have a job that requires creativity, and cannabis is an amazing performance enhancing tool for that. It'll give you insights, and this is such a funny one, because until you experience it firsthand, it's going to seem kind of like magic. You're like, what? That's not how it works. But in my experience, and a lot of others who do this intentional work with psychedelics, what they find is that their bodies just contain a monumental amount of wisdom and knowledge that they thought they didn't have access to. And using a psychedelic will help give you access to that wisdom and that knowledge. It's really wild. People will call them downloads or ideas, whatever you want to call them, but it's amazing to go through a process. Give yourself the beauty of an intentional ceremony with a psychedelic, with the guidance of an experienced coach, and wisdom just kind of hits you in real time. It's amazing, and it's one of the main reasons why I want to do it, is because it was so cool to experience it myself that I want to help other people get it too. These are just high return on investment, combinations with the cannabis. Doing breath work, where you're either intentionally over-oxygenating or doing all sorts of things that will adjust your physiology to, we'll say, combine with the cannabis to enhance the effects. It's amazing. And then story work, which is like working on your limiting beliefs. What are the stories in your psyche that are really defining your behaviors? They're creating the foundation for all of your behaviors. So if you edit the stories that you've got, then you edit your actions. And then finally, cannabis, to me, I see it as a key. It unlocks things in you. It unlocks your emotions. It unlocks the insights. It goes, for me, how I first started using cannabis with intention was to unlock my movement, because I wanted to dance and I felt like I could not access free movement. And then, I try some cannabis, all of a sudden, hey, I am unlocked. And it wasn't a all or nothing kind of thing. It's not like I went from totally locked to totally unlocked, but it gave me a view into what unlocked is. So then I was like, oh, I've got a navigation point now that I can work towards. Like I saw it with the cannabis, and now I can work towards it even in the sober state. It's an amazing key. Okay, now if I'm into cannabis, I'm into coaching, why not other psychedelics? There's a lot of people that use ayahuasca or LSD or psilocybin. So what about cannabis versus other psychedelics? I'm going with cannabis here for a few reasons. One, it's legal. That's the big one. It's like, oh, I can do it right now legally. So that's huge, as opposed to, LSD, and psychedelics, kind of. If you live in the right area, there's only a few areas that do it, and then you have to have a lot of licensure. It's heavily regulated. It's so accessible and affordable. If you're in a state where it's legal, you can just waltz right into a dispensary and say, yeah, I want that one. And you get it and you go home and you're off to the races. So it's so easy, it's so accessible. It costs like a few dollars. And unlike a lot of the other more exotic psychedelics, you can do it at home. You don't have to go to like a retreat center, or you don't have to travel to South America to do an ayahuasca ceremony. So it is so easy, so accessible. It's also safe. If I were to coach someone using marijuana, and I can do it remotely, I can do it over Zoom, if I were to do that, I'm not worried about them having a quote unquote bad trip and doing something crazy while I'm not able to assist or intervene. Cannabis is very safe. It's very easy to dose, unlike something that you have to eat, where if you don't get the right dose, it just takes too long to change. And if you do too much, you can't do anything about it. It's way easier with marijuana. And you can do it at home. Because I could do the process, the coaching over Zoom, someone could be at home. And that's the place where they feel most safe, and they're going to have the most access to those insights and those emotions and everything else, because they're in their safe space. So, what's next? For me, it's just doing this course and learning as much as I can, because I went through this, personal journey of mine. I'm still going through it, but I went through it up until now. Largely, I've been winging it. Like, I've had the help of a coach, but a lot of it was still me just winging it, because I found out for myself how valuable cannabis was. And then it was like, oh, how can I use this? How can I explore with this? How can I get more? Like, that was so interesting. I want to try these variations, combine it with this and that, whether it's movement or breath work, dancing, music, whatever. So I'm going to continue that process, because I don't actually know what I'm going to do with this. In 6 months, I might not be a cannabis coach at all. I might move on to something else entirely, but I will use this experience and this information to help me out in whatever I do. And so for right now, it's like, I want to learn, I want to experience, I want to experiment, I want to get as much as I can, so that if and when I open my doors as a cannabis coach, I've got the foundation that I need to do that job well. So I will continue with probably my normal selection of random videos, but I'll also do these updates where I just kind of review, honestly, what I'm learning, as a way for me to just kind of deepen my understanding and get used to talking about it. And, by the end of it, maybe you have developed a relationship with me where you're like, yeah, I want to talk about this. Can we chat about cannabis and coaching? So that's what I'm doing. Okay, that's my update, and I'm going to get back to my day. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.